Hello and welcome back to INMR, where in today's podcast I'm going to be explaining why Jarrad Branthwaite is the future of England's defence. He's been having a really good season at Everton this year despite them struggling, and I think it's only a matter of time before we see him really thriving for England. So we're going to do a bit of analysis today, looking at his stats this season, some games where he's shown why he's got the potential to do well for England, and then talk a little bit about his future both at club and country level. So we'll start off by just going through his profile. So he's a left-footed centre-back, a robust but agile defender. He's 6'5", so obviously that means he's massively dominant in the air. Just 21 years old, but his consistency and maturity in the game is very promising. He honed his skills last season in the Eredivisie with PSV, and he's got desirable traits such as good strength, unbelievable speed, and being powerful in the air. Combine this with his impressive technique on the ball, it's no surprise that Sean Dyche is such a big fan of the young defender. He's one of just 3 players under the age of 21 to play over 2,000 minutes in the Premier League this season, so obviously he must be doing something right. This season in the Prem, Branthwaite has won 68.7% of his duels, with only 3 centre-backs bettering that stat. This aerial supremacy allows him and James Tarkowski to dominate Everton's defensive set pieces, and from defensive corners, Branthwaite has won the first contact 10 times this season and Tarkowski has won it 14 times. This sort of dominance in the air is something that Man United could do with, but we'll get onto that later. It's no secret that Everton don't see a lot of the ball during games. They average 38.5% possession per game, which is the second lowest in the Premier League. This means that Jarrad Branthwaite and his teammates are always going to rank highly in the defensive metrics. However, that doesn't take away from Branthwaite's brilliant stats, in which he ranks very high in. He's one of just 3 players with over 50 aerial duels won, over 25 interceptions made, 25 tackles and over 20 blocks made. Branthwaite impressed last year at PSV in a side much more willing to dominate the ball. They averaged 55.6% possession per game. He developed brilliantly in that system and made 21 starts. During this time he had a passing accuracy of 87.1%, which ranks him inside the top 10 amongst the league's centre-backs. At Everton, he continues to show signs that he has the ability to launch attacks when his side do choose to build up through the thirds. He's had 34 build-up involvements in shot-ending sequences, which is the most out of any Everton player, and that's all without taking the shot himself or creating the chance, which highlights that he's the one starting the moves all the way back from defence. Branthwaite is a pivotal part of Everton's low block, but he showcased the ability to play as a front-footed defender as well. Not only this, but he has the recovery pace to play in a team with a higher defensive line, such as Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham. He reads the game excellently and often steps in front of his marker to make timely challenges. As you can see on screen now, the ball's about to be played into Wissa, and Jarrad Branthwaite knows that, so as soon as the ball's played in, he can immediately react and win the ball. It's the same again against Liverpool. He's marking Salah and knows that the ball's going to be worked into him after Konate passes to McAllister. So as soon as the ball leaves McAllister's boot, Branthwaite instantly snatches it away from Salah. He's always a few steps ahead of his opponent. As a left-footed centre-back with as many desirable traits as Branthwaite has, it's only a matter of time before a top 6 side picks him up. According to Football London, Arsenal, Spurs and Chelsea are all interested, but it's Man United who are favourites to sign the Englishman to replace the injury-prone Lisandro Martinez. Manchester Evening News mentioned that Real Madrid are going to potentially challenge the Red Devils. They're particularly interested because Branthwaite has already proven that he can adapt overseas. In terms of what to expect with the 3 Lions, I think this Euros has come a little bit too soon for Branthwaite, as he is still yet to play a minute under Gareth Southgate. It looked as though he was going to play against Belgium last night, but he wasn't selected. Even when Stones came off injured, he decided to sub on Joe Gomez, but he's still got a great chance of getting on the plane in the summer, especially now that players in his position are continuing to get injured. So there you have it. That is why I think Jarrad Branthwaite is the future of England's defence. He's proven himself in multiple leagues, playing a variety of different systems, and always seems to adapt well. We haven't seen if this can be replicated on the international stage yet, but Branthwaite looks like he fits the mould of a modern centre-back and has all the right attributes to do well in an England shirt. In my opinion, he'll be a certain starter in the World Cup in 2026 and definitely the 2028 Euros. That is where I'm going to end today's podcast, but there's plenty of others you can listen to, such as last week's podcast where I decided who Gareth Southgate should take to the Euros. And coming up this Friday at 5 p.m, there's a podcast coming out previewing a very important game in the Premier League. For extra content, be sure to follow INMR on Instagram and X. And when my website is back up and running, be sure to check that out too. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.